Starting your week the right way. Coming to the FPL Green Room with me, Gianni Batici, and her, Holly Shand.
Coming up in today's show, we're going to react to all of the action from Game Week 4, and it feels like there's plenty to discuss with my numbers game and Gianni's eye test report. And we're quite literally spoilt for choice for this week's Troll of the Week. We've had Liverpool's first loss of the season, their unbeaten record gone, first goal of the season conceded as well. Brighton were our focus for Game Week 4, failed to score. We're also going to get into Manchester City, Manchester United, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, because some quite interesting narratives there. Before discussing our plans for Game Week 5, now we were both charting a wild card pretty soon, probably Game Week 6, but have the events of Game Week 5 given us the motivation to press that button a little bit sooner?
Oh, maybe. We've got to talk wildcard a little bit more in detail, I guess, later in the show. But look, it's on my radar. I do think I'll end up wildcarding in 6. I definitely need to, you were telling me, Holly, to wildcard last week. And I'm in a way glad I didn't. But yeah. I think the 5 wildcard is awkward because what do? Do you still go triple Arsenal on a 5 wildcard? Then they go to the Etihad? And then how, if you do go triple Arsenal, how do you get Salah and Haaland in there? And you definitely want Salah, I think, for Game Week 5, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's why everyone was ripping up their teams to get Salah in, because of the Game Week 5 captaincy. That's the big one. Although I've already gone on to set my bus team for Game Week 5, move the captaincy from Haaland to Salah, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Like, Haaland has just been ridiculous to start the season with. Is it really that clean cut that we don't captain him because it's Arsenal?
No, I don't think it is. We have to talk. Okay, so later in the show, stay tuned, guys. We'll talk more about the wildcard. We'll talk more about captaincy, but we have to get into that because it's a proper discussion this week. A proper discussion. Let's talk about. Look, Holly. First up, are we in the green room? Are you on a green arrow? Because I don't know if you. No, not many are they?
No, not for me this week. But I feel like it's a good week to have a bad game week. I think I'm going to finish on 48 points.
Right.
And that obviously is a red arrow. I think it dumps me down about 500,000 spots to about 1.5 million.
Okay.
But yeah, not the worst. I mean, I could have taken a hit and I didn't. And, you know, I had Haaland and I gave him the armband. I feel sorry for anyone because of, you know, the rumours that were going around at the back end of last week that didn't give the armband to Haaland because of that. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, I'm in an okay place. I'll brush myself off and look again at Game Week 5.
I'm the same as you, 48. I had 52, but I took a 4-point hit.
Right.
So 48 for me, and yeah, my ranks were like 3.5 million. Let's not talk about that though. Move on very, very quickly. Look, a bit of housekeeping, guys. We are available, of course, on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify. Do like and subscribe. Do make sure you're leaving us a review. Do ask us a question at fplgreenroom@gmail.com and join our mini league. The code is 139793. There were some big XG underperformers this weekend, Holly, because we had a couple of players who missed penalties. And obviously a penalty is 0.78 XG. So yeah, hang your head in shame, Cameron Archer and Evan Ilson. But penalties were an interesting theme this week because we also saw Glasner come out and say, with his penalty taker, Mateta, after he scored, it's Eze and Mateta who are the penalty takers, and they'll decide on the pitch at the time. And it's like, oh, but you don't realise, Oliver Glasner, 30% of FPL managers have pretty much put Eze in their team because they think he's on penalties. So that's quite big news, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was gutted. It was that last 5 minutes of action from the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and Eze didn't take the penalty, and then 1 minute later, my Fulham clean sheet got wiped out as well. So it was like a double whammy of FPL pain there. Interestingly, Eze has been dominating on other set pieces. He's been taking all the corners. So that's a positive. And Glasner says he's got 2 penalty takers. So as an Eze owner, you can at least hope that he'll take the next one. I feel like Eze is the 90-minute man, whereas Mateta won't always fit into that category. I think we'll see some early subs from him at times. So I'm not going to bin Eze off because he didn't take that penalty. And I've still got hope that he takes the next one. But I think, Mateta owners are in a pretty good place now with that.
Yeah, 0.4-ish XG, I think, for Eze, away from the fact he didn't even take the pen. Still a good option. We'll talk more about Palace and their setup with Nketiah. I've done some test scouting there later in the show. But look, coming up first, let's just chat about our busy international breaks, Holly. You've been everywhere. I've seen you've been away. I think you've been on the BBC. I saw you on TV. You've been at a YouTube event in London. So yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I went to the UK YouTube Gaming Summit at the YouTube offices. Well, it's Google HQ actually, which is right next to King's Cross Station. So really easy for me to get to. So it was a really interesting day. Learned a lot about, different ways that you can utilize streaming on YouTube, kind of what direction they're going in terms of AI. Is it like FPL's in that bit of a weird space where it sits between gaming and sport, football? But yeah, it was a really good day. And then in the evening, there's, YouTube are really helping women grow. And they've got a great women in YouTube community. And there was a women in gaming event on the evening as well. So we got a bus over to Canary Wharf and did the Cube over there, which was loads of fun. I was actually not as terrible as I thought I was going to be. So that was great fun as well. And, free food, always a plus, free hotel, free travel. So yeah, it was a good trip all in all. And then last week I did the football news show for the BBC Sport. Now I think the pilot of this show, about 3 years ago, I did send off a video, and then they decided not to go ahead with FPL. But hopefully, after my appearance on there, there'll be a bit more FPL content coming out on that show. So it's a show that's just for the iPlayer. That's twice a week, focusing on football. So I think the gambit for the show was to do with the rise of FPL and why you may have chosen to stop playing FPL. And obviously I was the pro FPL pundit on there. But yeah, it was great fun. BBC is like the pinnacle for sport in the UK, isn't it? So yeah. It was fun to do.
But you've been BBC reference is good.
Yeah, but you've been busy as well, haven't you? Because you did Sky Sports this week, and it's going to be us next week, the dream team back together. But you cheated on me again.
I know, it's weird. There will be that's my third week in a row of Sky Sports. I think it is. No, I would have done 3 and 4. Yeah, I would have done 3 and 4. And yeah, only one of those 3 with you. So no, I'm looking forward to being in the studio with you. It'll be the first time we've stood at the big wall because it's a new setup now. We're right on the edge of the Soccer Saturday studio. So we're actually in the main studio, which is always cool. And the new graphics look great. So no, all is good. I've been busy and can't complain. Let's crack on though, shall we, with some FPL, because the numbers game this week is full of interesting data from you. And I hope the eye test report from me is also going to be of key interest, of good interest. So yeah, shall we get cracking, Holly?
Yeah, so first up, Liverpool. I mean, my advice going into game week 4 was triple up on Liverpool. I brought Salah into my team, who after 3 double-digit hauls, blanked at home to Nottingham Forest. He did have 2 shots on target. Diogo Jota, I think Jota and Diaz both got subbed on the 60-minute mark, but Jota decided to run off and get 1 point versus Diaz, who went off a little bit slower and got 3 points because he got the clean sheet point as well. And
those 2 points would have been massive for me this week. A 3-pointer feels like a massive win this week. And I had another 1-pointer from Jota. Thank you.
Yeah. And then Trent yellow card as well. Trent produced 4 key passes though. So that's something. Yeah. First goal conceded for Liverpool. But I did actually look at the data before this game, and Nottingham Forest's numbers in terms of shot volumes looked great. And also defensively, in terms of big chances conceded, their metric also looked great. So on reflection, I'm not that surprised by the result, but it does feel like, Anfield has been a fortress in the Klopp era. So to be undone by a counter-attacking goal is a bit disappointing. And it's the mental impact on that, isn't it? Because while everything's rosy with a new manager, things are fine, but it doesn't take long, does it, before, doubts start creeping into players' minds, to the fans' minds, and it can go a bit toxic. I will admit I've not watched any football at the weekend. I've not seen any highlights. I've not seen anything. So I'm really interested to know your eye test take on things.
Yeah, like Liverpool, I guess there's a few big headlines. Number one, let's just go Trent. When Bradley came on, we've seen Trent coming off early, right? And when we saw Bradley coming on at 75 minutes or 70 minutes, it was like, oh God, is Trent going to come off? Like, please no. He looks so close to another attack and return. But he kept Bradley at right back and pushed Trent forward. So Trent was effectively playing in midfield. Yeah, so Trent and Bradley playing together for the last 20 minutes was useful, and Trent was super high. Salah was still the most advanced man on the pitch by a country mile. Wasn't that involved. Jota is really annoying, all right? So Jota's clearly an elite finisher, arguably the best finisher at Liverpool, many would say. And we should, in theory, like him as the number 9. But remember under Klopp when Bobby Firmino was the 9 and he was always getting deep on the ball? And remember when you watch, I don't know, Harry Kane for Gareth Southgate, and everyone goes, why is he getting on the ball on the halfway line? Why is he feeding so many players? Why is he linking play so much? I want him in the box. And they do that because they're very good at doing it and it's great for the team. Now, Firmino was great at it, Kane's great at it, and Jota's good at it too. And that's what Slot wants. He wants Jota feeding Salah and feeding Diaz and dropping really deep. Now, when you look at the average position maps, you would honestly look at Jota at the weekend and go, was he playing centre mid? And there's two types of number 9. There's so many types of number 9. But in terms of average position, there's 2 types of number 9. There's the Haalands of this world who don't care about touching the ball on the halfway line. They stay as the most advanced man on the pitch. They're always in the box and they're ready they don't care if they get one touch, if that one touch is a goal. And they're not asked to do loads of work for the team because players like De Bruyne are the key men doing all that neat and tidy stuff 20, 30 yards from goal. Or there's the number 9 like Harry Kane for Southgate or Diogo Jota for Slot or Firmino for Jurgen Klopp, who is getting on the ball on the halfway line and doing a ton of good work for the team, but not really for FPL. So let's just monitor that one with Jota. And look, Champions League's kicking in. They go to Milan on Tuesday. I expect Jota to probably start. Is he a risk then for Saturday? Hell yeah. I think we're going to start seeing big rotation in the attacking positions at Liverpool with Champions League. So Darwin, Gakpo, will they make the most of their chances? I mean, Darwin came on and was poor. So yeah, Liverpool definitely an interesting one. If I wildcard or when I wildcard in 6, I'm certainly not interested in those rotation risks now. Like Salah plus defenders, sure, would be worth considering. But the likes of Jota have been brilliant up to now in terms of in theory. But we're going to see more and more early subs.
Yeah, I think the optimal triple up looks like Salah plus the fullbacks, but whether that's viable when it comes to a game week 6 wildcard, I think that's a different story when you trying to balance the form and the fixtures.
Might not have any in the game week 6 wildcard. It might be like, oh, we need Saka, we need Haaland, we have Trent, but yeah.
Yeah. So next team then, Brighton. Obviously the big news. No João Pedro, not even in the squad. And now it's been reported that he is nursing a little issue. He was the most transferred in play. Did you buy him?
Oh, just for a 4-point hit,
I mean, I almost did the same. Obviously, Brighton scored no goals and they were a big team to target. There were some, encouraging signs though. Baleba had 4 shots. He was a bit of a surprise inclusion. We saw Rutter get his first start of the season. Matoma had 3 shots in the box and 2 big chances, so maybe he was a bit unlucky. Hinshelwood's still taking a lot of set pieces. He had 7 corners in the game. They were just a few stats that jumped out at me. What was the eye test from that game?
Oh, like Brighton are... Honestly, they created so much. They had I think 58 touches in and around the box.
Wow.
Compared to like Ipswich's 8 or something. And it was like, oh, okay, come on, Brighton. Now you just need to stick it away. Like, don't go all Graham Potter on us where it's all neat and tidy without the end product. But Hursley won't do that. Hursley teams will have end product. And this was just an off day where they probably needed João Pedro on the pitch because he is one of their clinical finishers. Let's just add Hursley to that list of managers in press conferences. We can't believe everything they say. Because, I'm not saying he's Eddie Howe or Arteta yet, but Hursley told us that he was fine and clearly, or he certainly didn't mention the João Pedro knock on international duty. So precautionary, and we think he'll be available next week. Just worth noting, Veltman played really well at right back. He racked up bonus points. He got 3 bonus points. And I'm really interested to see the new signing Kadalogu and where he fits in. Does he play right back? Does he play left back at Hinterwood's position, or does he come into midfield? But no, they were good. I mean, Ayari played and sort of a bit like a number 10. Welbeck still looked sharp, but sharp-ish. And Jorginho Ratner played, and again, he played the João Pedro role, not as well as João Pedro. I do look at that Brighton team without João Pedro and go, oh, maybe they're missing a little something there. He is a talisman. He is their best player. And I do think on wildcard even, he's still a really good pick, even when Brighton have tough fixtures. We just saw he scored against Man United and Arsenal, like tough fixtures. Brighton will sharp against the big teams, and they should dominate the smaller teams, as they kind of did with the stats and did with open play against Ipswich, who are good at the back. But yeah, Brighton will be good this year, and that's certainly of interest with FPL.
Yeah, so I've not read too much into the João Pedro thing, but is this issue linked to what we saw him miss the international tour in pre-season, or was it just an impact thing on international duty?
Yeah, I think he was described as a knock on international duty, so I'm not sure if they're related. But he also then mentioned how it was a long journey back, and I was like, okay, could he have played? Maybe. Was it more just lack of prep and needing a rest? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I would be shocked if he didn't play at the weekend.
21 shots in that game, by the way. So yeah, plenty to go at.
I think they're the highest of all the Saturday teams in terms of shots. I think no team took more than 20 other than Brighton.
Yeah. Shall we move on to Manchester City then? Because Pep rotation has come in since the international break. Very different looking side. Obviously, Haaland running the show again. 6 shots, 4 on target, and he looked annoyed that he wasn't getting his hat-trick of hat-tricks. We saw a start for Sevilla, and he had 5 shots, 2 on target, 1 big chance. He was sharing set-piece responsibility with De Bruyne again. De Bruyne also created 5 key passes. Gundogan with 4 key passes. So Man City still feel like a team we want to be invested in, but it's especially because Haaland's ownership is growing, but the difficulty is finding who do you go for, who's nailed, who's providing value.
Oh, do you know what? And we still don't have Foden in the mix. Like Foden trained and we thought he was available but didn't play. I think he might have been on the bench, but didn't get any minutes. So when Foden comes into the team, how does that affect good picks like Gundogan or De Bruyne even, or certainly even Savio? Like as you say, Savio is 6.5, so he's the value asset. And he's getting 90 minutes. So he got 90 minutes in game week 4 and he looked good. He clocked a 0.74 XG. I like him. I think he moves like Mahrez. I think he's got Mahrez. There's something about him where I'm just like, you run like Mahrez, you dribble like Mahrez, you've got the set piece threat, you can cut in. You're going to be a really good pick. And he ain't going to be 6.5 for long. Certainly not next season. So just one to monitor there. If we keep seeing him starting games, we thought Doku was going to start. Doku didn't start. So that Pep roulette has already come in at the back. We were surprised to see Guardiola benching. The big headline, I guess, is still Erling Haaland looks like a different beast. And that is why captaincy in game week 5 needs discussion, because we all looked at matrices at the start of the season and suggested we'll go there. And in game week 5, everyone was going, who do we captain in game week 5? We need to make sure we own Salah because no one will captain Haaland, or having Son could be good, or even Ollie Watkins. But everyone just assumed it would be a non-event captaining Haaland because, yes, City Arsenal is usually a scoreboard draw or whatever, but this is a different Haaland this year.
Yeah.
He could very easily score a brace against Arsenal. Look, I'd probably fall off my chair if he got a hat-trick, but I'd expect a goal and I wouldn't be surprised with 2.
Yeah. I mean, you look at his numbers, top for shots over the first 4 game weeks with 20, top for shots on target with 14, top for shots in the box with 18, top for big chances with 8, top for non-pen XG with 3.86, top for XG with 4.83. He scored 9 goals already this season. And this is the thing that's most ridiculous because no other team in the Premier League has scored 9 or more goals. And Haaland has 9. Chelsea have 8. Liverpool and Villa have 7. But Haaland is just absolutely ridiculous. So he needs to be in that captain conversation. You can't just think, oh, he plays Arsenal. It's at home as well.
Yeah. Do you know, if it was at the Emirates, I wouldn't be captaining him. And I actually would like probably back a draw as a result. I'm sure City win this, and I'm sure Haaland gets something. Will I captain him though? Don't know. Should we talk captaincy now? It feels like we should on Haaland. Do you think you'll end up captain? What's your early thoughts? I mean, neither of us are going to commit to captaincy just yet, are we? But
no.
Is it a two-horse race for you? Is it just him, Salah? Because for me, I've got Watkins in the mix as well.
Yeah, it's him v Salah for me. I won't look at. I mean, I don't own Watkins, do I?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's him v Salah. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 league appearances against Arsenal. So it's not, a poor record by any means. Like I say,
Haaland doesn't do poor records, does he? He doesn't have a poor record against anyone.
No, like I say, I have kind of, without thinking, I've set up my bus team for game week 5 and I've moved the captaincy to Salah. But I did feel like a bit weird once I'd done it. Like,
yeah,
I thought, I checked myself. I thought, you need to think about this, Ollie. So I don't know. I think it's a bit 50-50 for me at the minute.
Do you know what? Bournemouth are good as well. I would note for Liverpool, like Bournemouth are no mugs. Bournemouth have been really good this season. Actually, a bit unlucky with a couple of results. I thought they were I thought they were the better team against Chelsea. For Chelsea then to go get the late winner. Is worth noting, Salah and Watkins play on the Tuesday night in the Champions League. They both have away trips. Villa go to Switzerland. Liverpool go to Milan. Man City play on the Wednesday, but do have a home fixture against Inter Milan. So again, I don't know, does that matter? Maybe a little bit. And then obviously in game week 5, Liverpool played 3:00 on the Saturday, same as Aston Villa. Man City have the same recovery days because they play on the Sunday against Arsenal in what will be the last game of the game week. After that, the week after that is the EFL Cup. So Man City have Watford. So that'll be Haaland's rest. So we don't need to worry, of course, about Haaland minutes, but the schedule isn't too taxing on any of the guys mentioned because they'll all have the EFL Cup game off. So for Haaland, yeah, it's Wednesday, Sunday. For Salah and Watkins, it's Tuesday, Saturday.
Yeah, so it's one of those to monitor. It's like you'll get a bit of a feeling on form and minutes midweek, won't you, before making a decision? I mean, the only thing with Haaland, I know we can book in these games off for him, but there is no clear deputy for him at Man City at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the squad unless it's proper B team because, they don't have another number 9, do they?
No, I think, was it last season they played Luton in an EFL Cup game and Haaland played. I think he scored 5. He can still play the EFL Cup games. Pep's all about momentum and rhythm. And if he's fit, look, Haaland doesn't do much work for the team. He's not the Jota getting on the ball at the halfway line. I bet his running stats are amongst the lowest on the pitch every time he plays. So in terms of distance covered anyway. So yeah, I think he's just a different beast and I'm tempted to captain him too. Because we've mentioned Ollie Watkins there, Holly, let's just move to Aston Villa because I know you've got some good numbers on Watkins who I was so happy. Having Ollie Watkins on 13 points, even on a bad game week, just felt like a huge win for me because it was so risky. I took a 4-point hit to get him last week. So I needed him to bag.
I was pleased for you.
Thank you.
Great performance from him. 6 shots, 4 on target, 6 shots in the box, 4 big chances. That was the bit that made me kind of sit up and think, whoa, we need to bear that in mind. Top for non-penalty XG in 83 minutes. That's the headline. The fact he's played 83 minutes, given that he hadn't got past the 65-minute mark. So obviously getting himself off England duty in the international break was a massive factor to help his kind of fitness. So he now becomes a consideration, but he's one of those that if you don't own him, you need to see what happens midweek before you even consider buying him because Champions League football is huge.
Yeah, and he's definitely had these niggles. Post-match, he said, I tweeted this, I still don't feel 100%. I've had a few niggles and I took time off in the internationals to try and get myself right. He kept saying, I'm not 100%, I don't feel right. But then he also mentioned, I struggle watching from the stands. So, of course, he makes himself available. And that's why he's getting limited minutes. Like, he would have said to Emery, I can't do 90. So let's see. Let's monitor this. But 4 big chances. I thought he had a hat-trick. There was one shot with his left foot just whistled past the post. He should have scored it. But yeah, the numbers are good. And no one's really got a Watkins plan. Everyone's had Salah plans and wildcard plans. If you've not got Watkins, you're probably not buying him in 5. Because team structure doesn't allow you to easily and stuff. But, I mean, do you reckon he'll be in your Game Week 6 wildcard team? Because the fixtures are good for Villa for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those where we need another week of information, isn't it? I mean, you look at the fixtures as well. Wolves at home is a great fixture, followed by Ipswich away as well. I'm wondering whether Rodgers can cover him, though. I mean, Rodgers has been so unlucky. Again, another great performance. 4 shots, 3 on target, 2 big chances. So, he's a player that is in that 7th, 8th attacker territory who's not really delivered for his owners yet, but should be one that comes good very soon. Lucas Dean was another one that jumped out to me in the stats. 3 key passes, 2 big chances created. He is the definition of an FPL troll. The assists in back-to-back game weeks now. The fixtures, again, great clean sheet potential. 4.6 million. Can we go there?
Oh, he played really well, but the problem is Villa got 2 really good left backs.
Yeah.
And Maddison came on, and Maddison will continue to come on. And he got 21 minutes, and Dean got around the 70 mark. So at some point, the 40 million left back Maddison spent a lot of money on him. Was it 35? I can't remember. He's going to be in the 11. At the moment, Dean's keeping him out with good performances, but it's way too risky for me. Way too risky. I'd love a way of Maddison playing higher up the pitch. He has played in midfield quite a bit. But so far, we're seeing Emery using him at left back.
Yeah, one to monitor, that's for sure. Another team that I looked at was Manchester United.
Oh, yeah.
3-0 win. First kind of big performance from them this season. And we saw Xerxes with his first start of the season. That meant that Fernandes was in the 10 role where we wanted him to be. So Fernandes had 5 shots. Rashford had 4 shots on target. I've still not got over Rashford in our sleeper draft and your comments to Big Man. Still a highlight of my international break. And Xerxes, 2 big chances, second for non-penalty XG. So things are starting to happen with Manchester United. And, maybe in another couple of weeks, they're going to be on our radar.
Yeah, I don't know. That's still dysfunctional Man United. I don't know. I looked at the XG plot in that game and I was listening on the radio. I was driving back from Sky. It was in dreadful traffic. I pretty much got the whole game. And until I think the 90th minute, the XG plot was like 1.5, 1.5, both teams. And then in the last, in injury time, United racked up some big chances. But they're pretty level with Southampton. Yeah, they're the away team. But I know the goals reflect a one-sided affair, but it really wasn't. And Southampton, until the goal, were the better team. I just can't go near a player like Bruno at that price point at the moment, playing for such a dysfunctional team that I don't think we'll keep many clean sheets. And I know they just have. So it'll be very easy now. De Ligt's going to get loads of love because that's how FPL works. Yeah. But United are still a non-event for me. Unless the fixtures were absolutely insane. And even then I'd question it. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to look at them. There's so many good options out there. And there's teams like Villa and Brighton and Newcastle with players of similar or cheaper prices than the Man United guys. And you just go, yeah, easy. If I'm shopping outside of the big teams like Liverpool, Arsenal and City, the teams I'm looking at are Brighton and Villa and Newcastle, not Man United. I'm just yeah.
Yeah, and they've got...
I know you're a closet fan, Holly, so I don't need that.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got Crystal Palace, Spurs and Aston Villa next. So it's like game week 8 is the time where if you're going to consider buying, that will be it. Speaking of Crystal Palace, they're the last team that I've kind of looked at in terms of stats. And we saw the Eze in a 10 with both Nketiah and Mateta ahead of him in this game. 6 shots in the box from Nketiah. Mateta had 4 shots in the box, 2 big chances. Eze with 3 key passes. He was on all corners. And also Tyreek Mitchell, 4 key passes and 2 big chances created, he looks like an absolute gem at the moment.
Yeah, I looked at the average position map this morning. He was higher than Munoz on the other side. If we were picking a Palace fullback pre-season, a lot were looking at Munoz, but it was Mitchell that was higher. And a lot of the play comes down that left because Eze drifts left naturally. They're really strong on the left with Mitchell there too. And now it's a front two of Nketiah and Mateta. They were both central strikers. They played as a front two with Eze sort of just to the left of them, but drifting in the 10. It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works with Palace playing a front two. And I think the manager Glasner was quoted pre-match saying, a team like Crystal Palace don't spend £25 million on a player to not start him. So Nketiah's like straight away, just like tick, he's a starter. And Mateta's obviously going to be a starter too. And now Mateta comes with a penalty appeal. They're one to monitor because if you can't reach an Eze on your wild card, but you want to cover some of those Eze points, you want to cover Palace attack, then Nketiah's like, was he 5.9? He's proper cheap. So it might be worth a punt, knowing we've almost got a guarantee of starts. The fixtures are good, and he is still playing central because Glasner said, he can play in different roles. But what we didn't see was him out on the wing, which I worried about for Nketiah. I was thinking, is it going to be still a one-man attacking Mateta and Nketiah stuck in the Jordan Ayew wing position? Well, no. He got 90 down the middle, and he's 5.9 million, 0.8% owned. Yeah. We often talk about players like this once they've scored, but let's, maybe get on them early. And if you're wildcarding in 6, sure, it's Everton and Liverpool, but then, Forest, Spurs, Wolves, Fulham, Villa, Newcastle, Ipswich, it's not a bad run.
Yeah, we've got to consider their assets, haven't we? And I know you haven't got any Crystal Palace attackers at the moment, so probably one to watch out for, certainly on wildcard. Right, troll of the week.
Honestly.
I mean, there's about 10 different players that we could choose here, but there is one who is in both of our teams. So I think probably should be the one that we go with for troll of the week.
I mean, I think I know you're referring to. Are you going to Dio? Yeah, okay. I reckon you're going. Yeah, it's got to be. Okay, so this week's troll of the week is, I hope I got it right, Diogo Jota. Yeah, it's got to be Diogo Jota. Like the 59-minute sub when you're running off the pitch when your colleagues are walking is just an absolute joke. Does he not know about the FPL point scoring system? And he gets the 1 point for a clean sheet and the extra minute. Diogo Jota, have a word with yourself, mate. There's things more important than football, and they're called FPL. And coming off early like that is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, it's going to be a while till he's forgiven for that one. We need a big performance in the next game against Bournemouth. We'll probably see him bench now and Darwin start now.
Honestly, we might actually see him bench though. I do wonder. Let's see how many minutes he gets midweek. But and again, if Darwin comes off the bench and plays well, does he get the spot? But there's some notable mentions here, Holly. I'll just throw Mo Salah's name into the hat, knowing I took a hit for Salah and João Pedro. So there's another name in the hat. And both completely, one didn't show up and the other one blanked. And it's his first blank of the season. But there's probably some other names, is there?
Yeah, I've got Isak, who went off at half-time with a nosebleed.
Massive troll.
Muniz, bench.
Yeah, good one. No one saw that coming either. Muniz hasn't been playing well, but just benched. And Raul Jimenez scored, by the way, and looked good.
Yeah. Rico Lewis subbed at half-time, having played on the left flank.
He was popular as well. Loads of transfers in for Rico Lewis.
Yeah, me included. Mateta taking the Eze penalty away from him. Yeah, there was just loads. Too many to mention.
Gvardiol with his cameo off the bench. For me, another one. Anthony Gordon, looked really good. Newcastle scored 2. Gordon didn't get anything. Oh, and by the way, he also hit the post. Thanks. I hate it when your player hits the post. I hate it because you're like, if that just goes 3 inches the other way. Not only do I get 5 points for the goal, I'll probably get 3 bonus points. That's literally 8 points for inches. Fine margins, FPL, isn't it? Fine margins. Holly, what are your decisions this week then in terms of transfers, captaincy? If we're both, and are we both looking at a game week 6 wildcard?
Yeah, I think it will still be a game week 6 wildcard for me, but I feel like I need to make a wildcard team this week and compare how far away it is from my squad and the problems that I've got this week, just to weigh up whether it would be worth going early. I don't really want to, but it's got to be a consideration. Ideally, I won't make a transfer this week because we're no longer in the territory of, I'm playing my wild card next week, let's take a 1 week punt. It's now, can I save a transfer to bank one for after the wild card? I have a few problems though. I've got Rico Lewis is my third defender, not guaranteed to start against Arsenal. And I only have one available defender on my bench because I still own Barco, and that's Harwood Bellis.
Ooh.
And he didn't start against Manchester United. Ipswich at home. Ipswich at home. Will we see different tactics from Southampton? I don't know. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is Muniz, who I'm expecting again will be benched in favour of Jimenez. He has lost his spot now. So am I better off fixing that problem this week? But I do have Winks on my bench with Everton at home, which is probably one of the best fixtures that you can have at the minute. So I think that could be one to ride out.
We're similar boat. I've got a few fires too, and I will look at a game week 5 wildcard to go, will this actually outperform my team? And I'll set my 5 wildcard up just like I'd set my 6 wildcard up. So yeah, there's going to be Arsenal players. It's not ideal, blah, blah, blah. But there'll be some other good options there, like Mbermo. Yeah, he'd be in and he goes to Spurs. That's fine. So yeah, let's see. Look, if we wildcard this week, Holly, we don't use our transfer, and then you're banking an extra transfer. So the 1 week punt, it's great, but you then wildcard and you come out the wildcard and you just got standard transfers. To come out the wildcard with a transfer in hand, but going a week early is worth consideration. So I'm going to look at that too. I'll put together a wildcard draft probably midweek. And look, Holly will probably do the same. Holly, I'm guessing there'll be a wildcard draft on your YouTube channel. There'll be one on mine. So you can go check those out, guys, at Holly Shand or at Gianni Patici. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Captaincy, I think at the moment I'm Haaland.
Wow. But I mean, a lot can change this week, can't it? And we have to remember.
Not Salah. I'm anti-Salah at the moment.
Yeah. Sorry, we've got to remember there's Champions League this midweek.
Yeah.
There's also EFL Cup as well for a load of teams. Obviously next midweek is meant to be the League Cup week. That's
when Man City will have their EFL Cup game and Villa.
But yeah, all the ones not in Europe, their League Cup games are this week. So we've got Fulham away at Preston, we've got Crystal Palace away at QPR, Everton face Southampton, Manchester United against Barnsley, Brighton v Wolves on Wednesday, Spurs play Coventry, Leicester City against, that's then the next week. So you've got a few teams in there in League Cup action as well. So yeah, just bear that in mind, that you don't want to be locking in transfers anytime soon, because literally anything can happen.
Annoyingly, though, we won't want to commit to that wildcard early either. And when you're wildcarding, you really want to activate on the Sunday night and you want to be able to get price rises and stuff. But it sounds like both of us are probably going to be on the fence on that for a while and therefore won't be able to make the most of price changes, which will be a frustration. So, yeah, let's see how we end up there. There is Champions League all the way through to Thursday. I think for the first time ever, they've taken the Europa League slot as well. So Arsenal, for example, play on the Thursday night. So, yeah, it's going to be proper late reaction on the Friday, I think, guys. Let's move on to parenting moment of the week. Is it your turn or my turn?
Well, I thought, because I've got one prepped, I thought, it's my week and I've got one. But then I think it's yours. I think I did it last time. We've missed the week. Just throw me off. I might get something better by then. But yeah, what is your parenting moment of the week, Gianni?
This one's a little bit self-indulgent because it's more about me than my child, but there's method to it. My parenting moment of the week was I'm preparing dinner at Centre Parks. And Centre Parks, it's great, it's self-catering, new kitchen to new knives. And I'm chopping the peppers, and it's Gaia's bedtime, and we're trying to deal with Gaia being out the kitchen, putting her to bed, being like, Daddy, can I watch you chop the peppers? And I'm just distracted by bedtime, cooking fast, and I sliced my thumb at the end of the thumb. So the knife went straight through, and I'm blaming the 2-year-old for this. So blood everywhere. And I've now got like this weird flap at the end of my thumb where I could lose it and then I'll have this really weird shaped thumb for the rest of my life. Brilliant. Or it could just self-repair, because apparently it does. So I've got this protective sleeve on it and it's quite sensitive and really annoying. And I've literally not slept for the last 3-4 nights because all night I'm just fiddling with my thumb. So yeah, that's my parenting moment of the week. Don't try and cook and put 2-year-olds to bed at the same time. And if you are, use your blunt knives at home, not the really sharp ones at Centre Parks.
I mean, every time I go to Centre Parks, the cooking equipment is awful and the knives are blunt. So you've obviously, you must be at a posh Centre Parks. Was Centre Parks good other than the slicing of the thumb incident?
It's my first Centre Parks experience and it was amazing. I loved it. It's just great for the kids, right? So I'm like, I'm sold. And it was the Woburn one, which is the newest one. So maybe that's why the knives were so sharp.
Potentially. And have you actually had any medical assistance with this thumb?
Yeah, well, fortunately, I said to Cam, I was like, ring guest services. So she rang them, and honestly, they were there at the door within 5 minutes. The service was great. I was like, oh, you don't get this if you go stay in an Airbnb in Yorkshire, which is what we may have done. So yeah, that was good. And he said he wrapped this on my thumb. I'm showing it to Holly now. We're on a video call. And he was like, try and keep it on for at least a week. Now, it's getting pretty dirty and gammy, so I'll see if I can manage for another 3-4 days. But yeah, I want to keep that thumb intact. Guys, if you've got any questions about parenting or just FPL, reach out to us at fplgreenroom@gmail.com. Likewise, you can comment with a review and we see all those reviews with your questions. So when you're rating us, make sure you hit that follow button as well. Holly, I'll let you close us out.
Yeah, so find out next week whether we end up with a green or a red arrow. We will be on Sky Sports on Saturday morning with our final teams. So check that out, 10:30 a.m. And find out when you join us back here in the Green Room next Monday morning.
See you later, guys.